My name is Ahilan Arulanandam. I live in Los Angeles. In my day job, I work as a lawyer doing immigrants' rights litigation for the ACLU in Southern California. For the last 15 years, I've also supported the International Medical Health Organization, or IMHO, a nonprofit providing humanitarian support to people in underserved regions around the world with a particular focus on Sri Lanka. After I won a MacArthur Fellowship, I decided to take a few months off to visit my family's ancestral home in northern Sri Lanka. I wanted to get a feel for life in this region, which holds such special meaning for me and my family. Northern Sri Lanka was torn apart by a horrific civil war that lasted 30 years. Most of my family fled the country when it started, but it brought unimaginable hardship to those who stayed. The war ended 10 years ago, and this region is slowly recovering, at least in some ways. I'm also using this time to check out some of IMHO's projects, as I've been donating more to the organization since I won the MacArthur Award, and wanted to see how those funds are being put to use. I didn't come alone. My father has also come here for several months. He trained as a doctor here in Sri Lanka, but moved to the US and practiced medicine there for almost 50 years. But he's always remained interested in healthcare in northern Sri Lanka, working with doctors, health workers, and medical students here in his spare time. My wife Labani, also a lawyer in the US, is here too, along with our 4-year-old daughter Ananya. We began by visiting the IMHO's small office in Jaffna, the largest city in northern Sri Lanka and an epicenter of the conflict for many years. There we met IMHO's longtime staffer, Krishna Kumar, and an education expert IMHO has recently hired to focus on their early childhood development work, who's also named Krishna Kumar. So there's already free public education in Sri Lanka, right?
Education system paid to support children 3 to 5 years.
Responding to the growing body of data on the importance of early childhood education, IMHO recently began to focus on improving preschools in the areas affected by the war, which remain the poorest and most underserved parts of the country.
It serves 2,000 students and 200 teachers.
IMHO designed the project to focus on 3 particularly vulnerable districts that serve almost 2,000 children. Our trip began at 5:30 in the morning. The plan was to visit several preschools in a rural part of northern Sri Lanka called the Mannar district. IMHO's field organizer and an official from the Department of Education came along too. Though the war is over, the military still runs checkpoints all over the north that we have to pass through on our way. Northern Sri Lanka is truly beautiful. The birds, the wetlands, the fields, they're all just stunning. The first school we visited was a small preschool in a town called Saverikulam. It was already really hot there. Vanakkam. Good morning. There we go. There are 18 preschoolers studying in this one-room school. The building is not in good shape. The floor is cracked, and the roof has holes in it. In the back, there are holes in the floor and the wall. Snakes have been coming into the classroom through them. Oh, the hole here. That's the snakes come through the holes. The children run away when the snakes come. Yeah. I would run away too.
They don't have space, so
this tiny area passes for the kitchen. The kids eat on the floor. Like most preschoolers, some are better with their spoons than others. The building was supposed to be a temporary structure until a permanent school was built for these children, but that was 10 years ago. It says it's a semi-permanent common hall. This building was built 10 years ago? It's, for a child, that's not semi-permanent. Even in this rundown school, the kids are still kids. Some are shy, others just the opposite. They're all smiling and playing. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Bye. And the cousin is the renovation and the provision of toilets and those things. The next school we visit is St. Joseph's Nursery in Nedunkulam. This school has no electric power. And it also has holes in the roof and cracks in the walls. All of the people in this area, including the teachers here at St. Joseph's, were displaced repeatedly as a result of the war. 10 years ago, they were forced to flee as the Sri Lankan army bombed and shelled this whole area, eventually witnessing a humanitarian catastrophe that killed tens of thousands of people in the war's last stages. But now they're back, working hard to teach these little children born after the war ended. I found their resilience inspiring. Thankfully, the children have no memory of the war.
Got it.
We went next to St. Anthony's Preschool in Nedankulam, which serves as a resource center to provide support to 9 smaller schools that are nearby. That are fed by the school.
Yeah.
The teacher here, like the others we talked to, emphasized the importance of more teacher training in English, first aid, children's rights, and other topics. Like the other schools we saw, the playground here required some basic maintenance and more shade.
Nandri.
The last school we went to was called Thenudayan. I felt really bad for the kids who have to study there. Bats have infested the school building. There are well-known methods to fix this problem, like ultrasonic sound machines, but the school just doesn't have the money to get them. The very basic toilets they have here are broken too, which is obviously a huge problem for everyone. While it was hard to see schools with such dire needs, I also found the teachers, parents, and students really inspiring. In the face of hardship, they find a way to survive. Seeing them made me want to do more to support them. The day's trip had come to a close, but our work for these children had just begun. After all, every child deserves a good opportunity to learn and thrive.
Does your school have cracked walls? Does your school have snakes coming inside? What would happen to you? How would you feel if your school had those things?
To support IMHO's important work in Sri Lanka and elsewhere, please go to theimho.org. Thanks very much.